are most welcome to yet again another edition of the FDTv News Round. I am your host, Isaac Dex Wakalanga. Now, a lot of news has made round this week. However, before I take into the top stories that have made news this week, allow me to remind you to feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms. That is Faraja Television on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, feel free to subscribe on our YouTube channel, that is Faraja Television, for all the latest news and updates from the Faraja store. Now, these are the top headlines that have made news this week. Now, President Museveni says Uganda's economy is now worth 171.3 trillion shillings. Now, in the other headlines, I did not initiate the 10.6 billion shillings, says the former Minister of Lands, Honorable Betty Namisango Kamia. Now, this she said while giving her ordeal before the Public Accounts Committee, COSASE, in Parliament. Now, Pastor Gary Skinner, the founder of Watoto Church, says that Ugandans shouldn't participate in any way in taking bribes or giving them out if they are to fight the scourge of corruption that has ravaged the country to the core. Now, this is the news in detail. The President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaura Museveni, did appear before Parliament at the Kololo Independence Grounds in fulfillment of his statutory obligation as per Article 101 of the Constitution. Now, the President did say that the economy of Uganda has grown by 45.6 billion US dollars, that is approximately 171.3 trillion shillings. He also did mention by saying that the GDP per capita had also increased to $1,046. Take a look as the President narrates.
When it comes to the recent high commodity prices, caused initially by the relaunch of the world economy after the 2 years of lockdown, and additionally by the war in Ukraine, our decision, after careful analysis, is to avoid the traps of tax cuts and subsidies. Instead, we are doing two things. One is to engage the global actors that have caused these artificial shortages. I have contacted some of the actors. I'm in touch with all these wonderful people. I'm glad H.E. Biden is going to Saudi Arabia to meet the Crown Prince to get OPEC to pump more petroleum out of the ground. That would definitely help.
Now, the President also did highlight on the available opportunities which are available for export due to the diverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, pointing at the scarcity of food production internally in the nations like Malaysia, where food export has been forbidden by the government due to scarcity in that nation. Now, a select members of parliament that is led by the leader of the opposition, the Honorable Matthias. Now, in the other stories that has made news this week, the former commander of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the General Katumba Wamala, did make 1 year since the tragic attempt on his life by unknown assailants. Now, in this attempt, he did lose his driver and daughter. Now, the General Katumba Wamala did say that he will commit the rest of his life in service to God. Now, at the fundraiser, money was raised in which he is attempting to build a church. Now, at this fundraising ceremony, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Honorable Robina Nabanja, did also appear at this ceremony in representation of the President of Uganda. Take a look.
Let us follow rights. Let us respect each other's rights. Each one of us want to live. Life is very important. How can you make a strategy of killing someone's daughter? This is what we are excited. May God help us.
Now, also this week, the Public Accounts Committee, COSASE, which is responsible for providing a political audit to government state authorities to ensure accountability and oversight, was this week presided over by its chairman, the Honorable Joel Sonyonyi, who is also the Member of Parliament of Nakawa West. Now, earlier in the meeting, officials from the Uganda Land Commission were grilled in their participation in the 10.6 billion supplementary budget, which, according to the committee, says that they received a letter from the Auditor's General report saying that this was irregular. Now, according to the chairman, Joel Senyonyi, officials from the Uganda Land Commission had been asked on various occasions for close to 2 weeks back to submit their account details, but they were unable to. Now, in the attempt to hand them over to police by the chairman, they were able to release a copy of a handful of names and account details of these officials from the Uganda Land Commission. Now, also the former Lands Minister, Honorable Betty Namisango Kamia, did submit to the Commission to say that her participation was only to write a letter to the Ministry of Finance to enable her technical staff at the Uganda Land Commission to meet the needs at their table, in which they had to compensate victims of the Lusanja Ndeba saga. Now, she continued to say that the funds were initiated and withdrawn by officials at the Uganda Land Commission and not her. Take a look.
So, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to know if he was now with the owner of the family land, why did he decide to sell it to Uganda Land Board? And I just want also to know who came to who. Did the Land Board came to you looking for land, or you came to them that you are selling land?
To begin with, Madam Honorable, I didn't get the constituency piece. Madam Chair, different cultures have different ways of how they do things.
Very clear.
Madam Chair,
this is a matter of law.
Madam,
when you are to
Chair, I beg to be protected and I submit.
Okay, let's give him time. He first tells us what he's telling us, and then we can rebut. And for the record, I am not Madam Chair.
Sorry, Hon Chair. What I'm stating is the fact. Different cultures have different norms and the way they do things. For the record, this was part of my kibanja, which was apportioned to me. In our culture, when you grow up, your father could decide and say, for you, this is my kibanja, you'll settle there, you'll settle there, you'll settle there. And it is allowed. It can't be questioned in law. So we should address ourselves particularly to my culture. And that's what I can state. Now, Hon Chair, this part of the 208 hectares was apportioned to me, and this belongs to me. And there's nobody who's going to claim.
Who apportioned it to you?
The family.
What do you mean by family?
That is the document we want.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the document, this is verbal. Unless someone comes claiming, this is a verbal arrangement. If you came home now, in my village where I stay, I have put a structure on my father's land, but there's no title. There's no agreement to that. When you go in the mountains in Rwenzori, the settlements are extended. So I have my house on the family land, my brothers have, we are 5. But our culture does not allow us to condition the parents that please give me an agreement.
My question was,
yes,
who bequeathed this land to you? Was it your parents? Was it your grandparents? When you talk about family, the specificities are what we want.
From my grandparents to my father, then to us.
You have not answered the question. Who bequeathed the land to you?
My father.
Geoffrey Mugisa.
My father.
What's the name of your father, sir?
George Namiaka.
When did he bequeath this land to you?
I was around 96. Around 96, I was in Form 1, I think.
And according to you...
Maybe, Chair, on the matter, this is a matter of law. Mr. Mugisa Geoffrey,
exactly.
The law has not changed drastically. When did you acquire this particular land?
201.
Two?
The title.
The title
in? The title, yes.
Your part title in 20 what?
It is there, a copy of the title.
No.
Now, in the other part to this story, also later on, the Honorable Minister Marcia Kasaija, the Minister of Finance, was later on invited by the Kosase Commission to give his part of the story. Now, the minister did admit to giving out the 10.6 billion shillings in a wrong way, and he did actually apologize to the committee. Take a look.
This particular supplementary was not within the law. And his very own words are that his ministry should not have entertained this supplementary because it was not initiated the right way.
Yes, that's the conclusion. It's an obvious thing. They shouldn't have initiated. She shouldn't have initiated. And my permanent secretary should have rejected this and sent.
If the minister's mic is on.
Sorry. So I'm saying, I think it was an error for sure. I can't deny that. And if we follow the law strictly, definitely, my ministry should not have entertained this. They should have said, Land Commission, please put in your request.
Conflict, which it would be good for you to throw some light on. But also, Honorable Minister, you know, one thing I like about this particular minister is his honesty. You know, when there is a mistake, he will admit. You remember when we were having the Entebbe Airport expansion, you know, loan issue, and he admitted the loan was a bad one. And he apologized to this committee. So you have heard the minister. He has now told us that this particular supplementary was not within the law.
Now, the founder of Watoto, a city church, also formerly known as KPC, has come out to issue a word of speech due to the ongoing corruption which has eaten up the nation to the core. Now, the pastor, in his words, has said that for close to 40 years he has been in the country, he has never participated in giving or taking a bribe. Now, he has called upon Ugandans to also do the same if they are to fight the vice and kick it out of the nation.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in a state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you.
Now, on the 3rd of June, Uganda did commemorate a Uganda Martyrs Day at the Namugongo Shrine. Now, this came in after 2 years without the event due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this religious hunger was witnessed with a mammoth of believers thronging Namugongo to participate in this year's event. Now, this event was presided over by the Prime Minister of Uganda, the Honorable Robina Nabanja, who was able to make an appearance on behalf of the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Now, some of the other high dignitaries of the government who presided over this event were the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Anita Among. Also, the Leader of Opposition, the Honorable Mathias Mpuga, was able to make his appearance at the event.
Let the believers in Uganda prove that they can historically add value to Uganda in terms of wealth and people's prosperity.
Now, also over the weekend, in a concert dubbed Katonda Wabanaku, also translated in English to mean God of the Week, which was hosted at the Hotel Africana by Pastor Wilson Pugembe, a Ugandan gospel musician and pastor of Light the World Ministries in Nansana, Wakiso, did put up a show for the revelers who thronged the event in numbers. Now, according to the pastor, the concert was organized to fundraise money for the construction of the church that he leads. Now, among those who attended the concert were gospel musicians like Levikson, Exodus, secular artists like Bebe Cool, and celebrated witch Dr. Mama Fina. Now, moving to the world of sport. Locally, Uganda is hosting the Sekafa Women's Tournament, and this year's edition is staged in Jinja. Now, Tanzania did put up the highest score so far of the tournament with 12 goals against Zanzibar. Now, one of the highest scorers at the game is Clement Tukumbuke, who is also the current top scorer at the tournament. Now, also moving on to the AFCON qualifiers, which are undergoing across the African continent. In some of the matches that has so far transpired, Rwanda did play against Senegal at home and was able to lose to a 1-goal scored by Sadio Mane in the 98th minute, and this goal was a penalty kick. Also, Algeria was able to beat the Uganda Cranes by 2-0 away in Algeria. The 2 goals were scored by Mandi in the 28th minute and Belaidi in the 80th minute. Also, our neighbors Zambia were able to beat Comoros by 2-0. Now, these 2 goals were scored by Mwepu and Kangwe. The other goal that was scored by Comoros was by El Faradu Ben. Also, in the other game, which was played over the weekend, was the game between Central African Republic and Ghana, which ended in a 1-1 draw. Now, the only goal scored by Central African Republic was by Namaganga in the 41st minute. The goal scored by Ghana was by Kudus in the 17th minute. Now, celebrated football icon Lionel Messi did put up a performance against Estonia in which he was able to bag 5 goals, in which 1 was scored with his weaker right foot and the other 4 were scored by his stronger left foot. Now, this 5-goal feat was able to put Messi ahead of Pele in terms of official goals scored at club and country level. Now, Messi was able to make 769, which makes it a difference of 2 from Pele's 767. Take a look as Messi puts in quite a performance, not to forget.
Argentina, va Messi, así va Messi al arco. ¡Gol! Argentina, Messi de penal. Con claridad, con sutileza, hacia adelante para el Papu Gómez, quiere pegarle, el Papu tocó para Messi, tiene el gol, Messi, ¡gol! ¡Gol! Argentina, Lionel Messi, la calidad intacta, una definición excelsa para poner a pie Julián Álvarez, viene para Molina, viene el centro, busca para Messi, golazo, ¡gol! Argentino al minuto del segundo tiempo, toca y toca la Argentina, Messi define como un 9. ¿Está habilitado? Sí, Messi para el cuarto, Messi enganchó, ¡qué golazo! ¡Golazo! Pero que viva el fútbol Messi, pero que viva el fútbol Argentina, magia, magia, magia. Messi, Messi, Messi. Argentina 4, Estonia 0. Le queda la pelota a Dybala. Ahora a ver, allí va Messi. ¡Ah! Está iluminado. Está tocado, es el mejor. La pelota, mire que rebotó en todos lados, pero era para usted. 5 goles, sigue haciendo historia. Gol argentino.
It has been a pleasure having you on this week's FDTv News Round. Indeed, it's been quite a week with a lot of news. Now, before I sign out, I am Isaac Dex Wakalanga. Now, feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms. That is Faraja Television on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, feel free to subscribe on our YouTube channel, that is Faraja Television, for all the latest information and updates from the Faraja store. Now, before I leave the stage, allow me to say this. Today, I was in my house and I was thinking about how much time passes by so quickly and how we have only one life to live. It's important to make the right decisions every other day because time runs so quick. But also to those that have made mistakes, you still have time to correct certain things. Now, make sure that you be cautious of everything that you do and every time that you have before you. Now, I believe the next week is going to be blessed and I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.